Action, the author of Treason, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. You know, Mr. Speaker, I'm a humble talk show host. We met in 1990. I've known you all these years. You've become a dear friend, a close friend, a mentor. I admire you a lot. I know you changed the country. You were one of two successful conservative movements that changed the country for the better. Why is Sean Hannity the only one laying out the case that should be in the front page of the New York Times, the Washington Times, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC? Why is nobody covering this? Well, we do know part of the answer. They're colluding with the Clinton campaign. Why are they not covering this?
Well, I think the dam is starting to break a little bit. You know, they hate the idea of Donald Trump winning. He's an assault on the entire establishment. They are desperate for Hillary to win, and they're trying to carry her to the finish line, no matter how corrupt, how embarrassing, how difficult. But every day it gets heavier and gets harder. As I listened to you go through that list, by the way, I was asking John Heinz, who checked to make sure I was right. There were 43 people in Watergate who were either indicted, tried, or convicted. And I say that because as you watch more and more of this stuff, I don't see how John Podesta is going to stay out of legal trouble. I don't see how Cheryl Mills is going to stay out of legal trouble. Huma Abedin, a lot of those secondary players, the IT guy. I mean, this is not just about Hillary Clinton. This is a large group of people who are being carried into behavior which is illegal. Much of it involves overt criminality. Certainly Doug Band is, I think, at risk of being part of a RICO organized crime trial. So you go down that list. I think there are a lot of people here who are going to get, despite everything that Attorney General Lynch has done to block it, and it's quite clear now that she has been the primary blocking point, and the people she appointed when she was in the Brooklyn office of the U.S. Attorney, as Andy McCarthy has pointed out in a new column coming out tomorrow morning, that she's really at the heart of the effort to protect Hillary Clinton from her own criminal behavior.
Why is this so important? In other words, I guess in Watergate, like in this case, the cover-up is worse than the crime. But she put a private email server in play. She knew the rules. She even advised everybody working at the State Department not to do something like this, not to use private devices. She lied about the number of devices she used. She lied about sending or receiving classified information. But even the simple mishandling of classified information is against the law. Destroying information is against the law. Clearly, with the timeline I just laid out, they were trying to obstruct justice and circumvent the law. How did we get to the point where Comey in July let her off the hook? Do you think it might be related to the fact that it implicates the president?
No, I think it's because the pressure was put to bear on him by the president and the attorney general in an effort to protect Clinton. I don't think at that stage they thought they were protecting Obama. I thought they were protecting the Democratic nominee. I think in retrospect, Comey now realizes because of the rebellion in his own Federal Bureau of Investigation that he made the wrong decision that was unsustainable. He got the excuse this week, courtesy of Anthony Weiner, and 650,000 emails to reopen it. And of course, people should not just focus narrowly on the emails. I think the 5 offices that are investigating, and apparently according to the Wall Street Journal, have been investigating the Clinton Foundation for corruption for a year. I think that investigation, frankly, is at least as big a deal as the emails. And I think the level of corruption is unimaginable. And I don't think it's sustainable. It's not in the United States. My new newsletter is about Hillary Rodham Nixon, because I think she does pose the likelihood, if she were to stumble through to victory next Tuesday, which I doubt, I think that the investigations would grind her up over the next year.
What about this new discovery that the person that is responsible now for investigating this and responding to Congress as it relates to this new probe happened to be the defense attorney for John Podesta? You know, we said this last night. You can't even write this in your novel and have anybody believe it's a possibility.
If I put all these pieces into treason, nobody would have thought it was possible. I merely have people who are loyal to ISIS and betray the United States government. This is vastly more complicated than anything I wrote. But you know, I think that Senator Grassley and Chairman Goodlatte, the head of the Senate and House Judiciary Committees, should write a letter to the president demanding that a series of people recused themselves. McCabe, whose wife got $675,000 from Hillary Clinton's ally, the governor of Virginia. He has to recuse himself from all this stuff. I think the people in justice who are close to Podesta, they have to recuse themselves from all this stuff. The people who Lynch appointed, as Andy McCarthy points out, in the Brooklyn office of the U.S. Attorney, all of whom are loyalists to Lynch, who is loyal to Clinton. I mean, this is an absurdity. And I think that they have to find a way to get independent people, career professionals, to come in and take this apart. And they have to remember that all of these special deals that none of us understood, that were involved with, not going after the computers, destroying some of the computers by the government. Actually, now it looks like we're in defense of the corruption at the Clinton Foundation, not in defense of the emails. So there's a lot here that, very much like Watergate, you could start seeing people who are in the Justice Department being subjected to criminal procedures against them for their obstruction of justice. I think it's fair to say there are people.
Yeah, you got the Justice Department putting their Podesta's handpicked guy that, quote, kept him out of jail in charge of the investigation. Then we've got a report in Politico. The Justice Department is pushing the FBI to finish the Emailgate probe before the election. How is it possible, remotely possible, to go through 625,000 emails? Now, the only person that seems to be sticking up on the Democratic Party side that hasn't gone full Ken Starr on James Comey is the president, that says he does not believe that James Comey is trying to influence the election. What are your thoughts on that? Is this the big separation time?
Well, I mean, first of all, I thought it was a sign that when the number 650,000 emails came out, that the Obama team suddenly went, oops, maybe we finally gone too far. He has said a couple of other things, by the way, that begin to kind of distance himself from Hillary. Governor Rendell, former Democratic National Committee chairman, has also come out and said the FBI is doing the right thing. Senator McCaskill, who's one of Hillary's strongest defenders, said, the FBI had no choice. They have to look into this stuff. You begin to see breaks in the armor because it's indefensible. But my point here for the audience is broader. I believe there are people in the Justice Department who are guilty of obstruction of justice, as well as people in the Clinton operation. And I think that we may end up with independent counsel. We may end up in a variety of steps. But it's intolerable in the United States of America to have people who are government officials who are this incestuous, this involved, and have this gigantic conflict of interest. And as you point out, when somebody's been the defense attorney, he can't be put in charge of the prosecution.
No, you can't. Good point. All right, we're going to have more with Newt.